Am I the AH for not choosing my stepsister as my school project partner? My 16F mom got married when I was 8 to her husband. I have a stepsister the same age as me. Before high school we never shared classes, but now we have 3 together, and in one of them our teacher always lets us choose who to partner with for projects. We also get a study buddy, like our teacher calls it. Basically, one Friday a month we get a class where we pair up with our study buddy to study stuff. Because we always get to choose, I always choose my best friend, and she always chooses me. We're study buddies, and we're project partners every time in this class. My stepsister doesn't have any really close friends, and she struggles to find project partners sometimes. On Friday we were asked to choose a project partner to work with for the next 2 months on a big project our teacher wants us to do in pairs. My best friend and I chose each other like always. There were 4 kids left who had nobody to naturally pair up with, and my stepsister was one of them. She told the teacher she wanted me, but the teacher said I had already chosen my project partner and she had 3 other kids to choose from. My stepsister really didn't want to work with the 3 choices she had, so the teacher asked if I'd swap partners for this project and work with my stepsister. I said no. My best friend said no too. She said we work really well together. When I got home after school and work Friday, my mom was waiting for me and she pulled me into the office and asked me why I didn't choose my stepsister as my project partner. She said she knew I was asked and given the choice to change and I wouldn't. She told me after 8 years of being sisters I should have an equally close if not closer relationship to her than my best friend, who I met in pre-K, and I shouldn't find it so easy to say no to my stepsister. I said I enjoy working with my best friend and we work well together, and I didn't want to change that or work with my stepsister. My mom took my phone all weekend as a consequence, and her husband told me like 10 times they expect us to put each other before any friendships because we're family. He told me the way I act, you'd think my best friend is my sister, instead of my stepsister. My stepsister won't shut up about how sucky her partner is, and how fucking angry she is that I wouldn't partner with her. Am I the AH? Am I the AH for playing favorites and excluding my son from our girls' night? I, 41F, have 2 children, Layla, 17F, and Jacob, 15M. I want to clarify that I love them both equally and have always tried to make sure that none of my children felt like I had a favorite child. My husband, 43M, on the other hand, very clearly prefers our son. He was very happy to have a daughter, and a really great dad to her, but it's clear that he gets along with Jacob more, mainly because they're both boys and enjoy the same things. They both love football and baseball, and often go see a match together, or spend weekend playing, or talk about it together, etc. This became more important when Jacob got older and started getting into sports more. I get that it's easier for my husband to talk to our son about things they both love, but it's been making me sad to see our daughter excluded from their conversations or activities together. My husband doesn't do a lot of things with Layla. They sometimes watch movies together, but most of the time it's either my husband and Jacob doing something just the 2 of them, or the 4 of us together. For that reason, I recently decided to start doing things with my daughter, just the 2 of us. These past 2 to 3 months we've gone to the movies, to the mall, had girls' night, went to a bowling alley, and many more things. I can see that it makes my daughter happy, so I thought it was a great thing. My husband never complained about it, mainly because we mostly did this when the boys were doing something together. A week ago there was an open-air projection of Tangled, which has been Layla's favorite movie since she was maybe 6 or 7, and I had planned on going for weeks. The problem is, my husband found out 4 days prior that he had to go away for work that same night. He asked me to stay home and said that we could just watch another movie together, the 3 of us. I said no because this night was important to me and my daughter, and our son also said that he was completely fine staying home alone, and would play video games with his friends. My husband didn't say anything, but I could tell it bothered him. When he came back from his work trip, he got really mad at me and told me he didn't believe we actually went and excluded Jacob and that I was playing favorites because I decided to have a night with only Layla. I told him about how he always spent time with Jacob and asked if he really couldn't tell how Layla was hurt by that. He said that I was being ridiculous and that it wasn't his fault Layla didn't share any of his interests. I told him that it was his role as a parent to try to connect with his child, and he yelled at me telling me not to give him parenting lessons when I was a bad mother. He has barely been talking to me since then and is very cold/dry. I get his point because I always promised myself never to treat my children differently, but at the same time seeing how happy it made my daughter, I'm not sure I made the wrong choice. Am I the for questioning my husband's friendship with someone who disrespects our marriage? My husband and I got married in July, and since then, I've had ongoing issues with a mutual friend, A. While my husband thinks her behavior is fine, I feel disrespected and uncomfortable, leading to several arguments between us. A is someone my husband met through his D&D group. I didn't know her well initially, but I got weird vibes during our first hangout. At a barbecue we hosted, I gave her a tour of our apartment, and she made strange comments about our possessions, asking how we could afford certain things and what my husband thought of them. I initially brushed it off, thinking she was just being curious, but as time went on, her behavior started to feel invasive. To give her a fair chance, I invited her to dinner and a play, and we seemed to bond. Eventually, it became one of my bridesmaids, which I now regret. As we spent more time together, her behavior toward my husband became increasingly inappropriate. For example, she often made comments about how attractive she found him and even said she would sleep with him if given the chance. On 3 occasions, she said this directly to me. She also asked who in our friend group I found most attractive and then answered herself by saying my husband's name. A's manipulation extended to another friend, C. She told us she and C were fighting, implying we shouldn't invite her to our wedding. After the event, when A and C reconciled, I told C different stories about why she wasn't invited, suggesting that my husband and I didn't like her, which created unnecessary drama. During the wedding, A's behavior was noted by friends. They mentioned she frequently touched my husband's velvet suit and hugged him. Later, she told a friend she didn't bring a gag wedding gift, a ghost face mask, because it would ruin my husband's wedding night, which felt incredibly disrespectful. After the wedding, I spread rumors about our relationship, saying I was financially abusive because my husband and I keep separate finances. She also implied we weren't sexually compatible and shouldn't have gotten married. These comments were hurtful, especially since I tried to include her in my life. Despite everything, my husband brushes off her behavior, saying, "That's just how A is," and insists he won't confront her unless she makes a blatant move. I've told him her comments make me feel disrespected, but he doesn't see it as serious, because they weren't made directly to him. The final straw came when my husband wanted to help her move, because she didn't have a car. I couldn't join them due to work, so I told him I wasn't comfortable with them being alone together, especially given her history. While I trust my husband not to cheat, A's behavior makes me uneasy. I don't want them spending time one-on-one without clear boundaries. I'm fine with group settings, but am I being unreasonable for wanting to protect my marriage?